Alright, so today what we're going to be talking about is optimizing a build. So I've had a lot of questions about what I'm running at higher levels and how to get the build up to a higher level. So I'm going to kind of go over that. Basically what we're going to be doing is re-enchanting all of our gear to a certain extent. There are some best in slot pieces to add on to sets, but basically we want to look at things that we don't really need, such as with this one we're going to be looking at potentially the 92 resist to all. Not really going to help us out that much. We're going to look at some other things like gold pickup and that kind of thing that we might not need. But I think we're going to settle on the resistance to all. And now what we're going to be looking for here is that critical hit damage increase. We got it on the first try, got kind of lucky. So we're going to go ahead and look at that, see if we can get it up anymore. I know that it goes higher. So since we actually hit it on the first one, we're just going to kind of pick at it some and try and increase it. This is where you're really starting to min-max things. We didn't really need the resistance to all because ideally we're not going to be in the fight. What we're really looking for is just trying to get as much damage as possible. I do think here what we'll do is we'll look at the 7% is actually going to be a little bit more damage. So we're going to go ahead and hit that, and as you see our damage numbers climb another 4,000 DPS. So we're going to go ahead and take that, and that's what we're going to do for every single piece of gear that we have. We're going to go through and we're going to look, okay, what can I use, what don't I need, and looking at the possible properties, what's going to ramp us up. We've got a lot of health. We've got over 15 million toughness. That's a pretty huge number. And all in all for this fight, we don't even want to be in the fight with this build, I should say. We don't even want to be in the fight. We want to be back a good amount. So with this one, there wasn't any real damage buffs I could get, so I went ahead and just settled with the 14% life. Now, Jerem's Bracers is just a filler for this right now. It's not really doing us a whole lot. It's great with the Helltooth set, but it's not really doing us much for this build. So I kind of look at what I can get out of it. I know I'm not going to get much out of anything. If anything, what I would go here is potentially looking at some thorns damage, just do a little bit of reflect if I'm actually getting hit. But you know, even if you've got 10,000 thorns damage, that's nothing compared to the million DPS that we're pumping out. So it's not really a huge deal to find it. It is something that I end up picking up on my belt, but it's basically because there's nothing else there, and 174 experience at this level at over 400 Paragon, really not going to do us any good. So that's basically the idea behind getting your sets the way you want them, is to try and build them the items as best as you can, and then after that you're going to have to go hit that enchantress. You're going to need a lot of materials and a lot of cash, and you're just going to roll over and over and over until you find something that you want. For this one, like I said, I was looking for thorns damage because nothing else is really even worth having. I mean, 158 lightning resistance doesn't really do anything. I've got something like 7 or 8,000. It's ridiculous when you're looking at like 90% reduction already, and it's only guys at level 70. So all these guys are way above and beyond that, so it's not really going to do us any good. An extra 100's not going to do anything. So we're going to pick away at these for a minute, and then what we're going to end up doing is finishing all of these, and then we're going to go hit a rift. Well, whereas before my Zunimassa set was only hitting around greater rift 40, we're actually going to take this one down on a greater rift. So I'm going to pick away at some of this for a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and head down the rift, and I will see you guys afterward to discuss the build and discuss how the rift run went. Okay, so as you can see, that was a kind of slow run, and there were a couple of times where I got caught out there. The biggest strength of this build is not being the guy on the front line, and those bats were able to blink all the way to the back line, which caught me out and actually squished me. And then, of course, if you take one guy that could do an instant kill and you get hit by him twice, you're dead. So I just timed my shadow walk wrong or spirit walk wrong and ended up getting caught out. But all in all, the build does work pretty well. I took it to level 55, which is over 15 levels increase, and I still don't have best in slot for a lot of different items. So with that being said, just that little bit of optimization that you can put on one, ramping it up over 1,000,000 is a huge boon. So for skills, we were looking at Poison Dart with the Splinters, which shoots 3 because all of our guys are going to be shooting along with us. Grasp of the Dead with the Groping Eels. Spirit Walk with the Honored Guest, gaining that extra mana in case we use too many Grasping Eels. Fetish Army is one of the main keys of this because they last forever, and we got as many of them as we could get. Zombie Dogs giving us that life on hit is super useful for staying alive. Then we have the Gargantuan, which is the one that gets boosted if you run into an elite pack, gaining a whole lot of movement and attack speed since there's 3 of them. Midnight Feast to boost their damage, Spirit Vessel to keep me alive, and then you've got Zombie Handler to once again boost their life and give us an extra dog, and then Pierce the Veil to boost the damage of our Grasping Eels once again. So all in all, it's a pretty simple set. We are still running Sacred Harvester. It's just the best weapon I have. Doesn't really do anything for this set because we're not using Soul Harvest. You do have Zunimassa's set. And then we're running Wilkins Reach, which takes the cooldown off of our Grasp of the Dead, which is huge. You have the Gargantuan splitting into 3, which are more powerful than each of the ones before it. You have the Belt of Transcendence summoning the Sycophants every time you hit with a mana spender, so every time somebody walks into that Grasp of the Dead. And then you just have Jerem's Bracers, which is just a filler, as is the Gorget of Leoric. So a lot of stuff just filling stuff in. Deathwatch Mantle, not really useful for us. It just increases the Fetish Army damage, which is why it's there. But we're not even running best in slot, and we're able to go up 15 whole levels. I did get some neat stuff for Demon Hunter. We'll work on that later. That'll probably be the next character I do. But all in all, pretty decent set. I really appreciate you guys' support. Make sure you like, subscribe to stay in the know. If you have any other questions, just let me know.